Hello, everybody. We are back for another collection series. I wanted to take an opportunity to talk to you about a recently newfound series that I want every single book. I want to own them all. But let's talk about them, right? This is the Thomas Paine Kydd series. Way back, it's naval adventure, historical fiction, and it is written by Julian Stockwin. Now, Julian is a former naval officer and is really writing most of this is historical fiction. He's writing about personal experiences throughout these novels and his personal knowledge of throughout these novels. He's currently 81 years old. He is still alive. He is was born in January 15th, 1944, in the United Kingdom. Now, Julian joined the Royal Navy at 15 years old and served around the world before pursuing careers as a psychologist and a software developer. He retired from the Royal Navy Reserve as a lieutenant commander and is still currently with us and currently resides in Guildford, England. Now, this series, there are a total of 37 books, 27 books in this series, 27. And they stem all the way from Kydd, the first novel released in 2001, all the way up to Admiral, the last novel, the conclusion of the series, in October of 2024. So, yes. And he did release like a title once every year. So there was, I think, 2013, 17, and 18, he released 2 titles. But, so I first stumbled across this series at the when I was visiting the VA clinic, free library. And I found the first 3 titles, right? Kydd, Artemis, and Seaflower were the first 3 that I found. And when I picked them up, I've shown these books before, but when I picked them up, they were just the covers themselves. The covers by themselves were just so captivating. So we're going to talk about them just a little bit. This is the first book released in 2001. This is self-titled Kydd. Right? So shortly after I collected the first couple of books, I thought to myself, yeah, let's research this. Let's find out. It's part of a series, obviously. Didn't know much about it. Never heard of them before. Never heard of the series before. And upon researching it, I found that Half Price Books didn't have any copies in the local area, but I was able to have a couple of them transferred to my local store, and then I had 2 more that was actually shipped from out of state. So we're going to talk about those. And this is just part 1 of the collection series for the Thomas Paine Kydd. And as more books come in, we'll do the unboxing or the unwrapping as those books come in and continue on with the series until I possess all 27. This should be fairly easy. The books are still in print, and Julian Stockwin is still alive and still has an active page. He concluded the series in 2024. He's got other books that he has written, The Silk Tree and some others that aren't part of the series. But he says that he's going to take a short break after releasing the last one is Admiral. And then he's going to come back and start writing some more. But he's done with Kydd, but he will be back to write some more. So we're going to introduce the the first title, which is Kydd. And I want to start by reading the blurb on the back of the book, right? We don't read blurbs. Of course we do. We just don't admit it. I don't admit it. I say we, but I'm talking about me. We is me. Okay, so Kydd is the first one. Isn't that it's just miraculous cover? I just love the image on it. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to collect it. I originally picked this up at the clinic, and I was thinking to myself, I don't want this. This is a series. It's part of a series. I got to go find the rest of the books. I don't know if this is a standalone, if I could be read as a standalone. But then I picked the book up, and I read the back of it, and I said, oh, that sounds interesting. And then I saw the cover. So, Europe is ablaze with war. The British Prime Minister is under pressure to intimidate the French and dispatches a Navy squadron to appear off the French coast. To man the ships, ordinary citizens must be press-ganged. Thomas Paine Kydd, a young wig maker from Guildford, is seized and taken across the country to be a part of the crew of the 98-gun line of battle ship Duke William. The ship sails immediately, and Kydd has to learn the harsh realities of shipboard life fast. Despite all he goes through, amid dangers of tempest and battle, he comes to admire the skills and the courage of his fellow seamen, taking up the challenge himself to become a true sailor and defender of Britain at war. Now here's some admin or some ad lib here. Kydd launches a masterly new writing talent and is the first installment of a thrilling new series. Based on dramatic real events, it is classic storytelling at its best, rich with action, exceptional characters, and a page-turning narrative. And so to start this off, I thought it would be really, really, really exceptionally cool to read an excerpt from this book. You ready? Want to hear it? After the cold dankness of the open air, the heat and fug of the broad space, full of slowly swaying hammocks, was prodigious. The air was thick with the musty odor of many men in confined space and the creeping fetor of bilge smells. With fatigue closing in on him in waves, Kydd stumbled over to his hammock. Stripping off his outer clothes, he followed the example of the others and rolled them into a pillow. He then addressed himself to the task of getting in. It took only 2 tries before he was aboard, agreeably enfolded by the canvas sides. Some cautious wiggles, and he found that the hammock was remarkably stable and, in fact, astonishingly comfortable. The meager mattress conformed to his shape, and the single-course blanket was hardly needed with the heat of so much humanity. Yes, right? So that's the first one. During that same visit, I came across Artemis, which is title number 2 in the series. Another fabulous book cover. Book number 2. Artemis is the 18th century crack frigate that Kydd and seamate Nicholas Renzi are set to sail all the way to the fabled Far East. In this great age of fighting sailing ships, Kydd's voyage promises to be a perilous undertaking, but not even shipwreck, mutiny, or a confrontation with a mighty French frigate manages to thwart Artemis and her crew. It's only when Kydd receives an urgent message from home, one that threatens to cut short his career and trap him on the shore forever, that Artemis's real journey begins, filled with mesmerizing suspense and vivid details of Napoleonic-era seafaring. Artemis is classic, page-turning storytelling at its best. Book number 2. Book number 3 is Seaflower, and the color scheme on this one is just impeccable. The print, I mean, a lot went into, and there is some raised print on the, but yes, wonderful cover, wonderful cover. Or is that raised print? Or is that, I think that's a sticker I had to remove off of that. Okay. The young seafaring hero, Thomas Paine Kydd, is back on board in Seaflower, the third installment in Julian Stockwin's thrilling naval adventure in the great age of sail. England, 1794. Kydd and the crew of the shipwrecked sailors have returned to England for the court-martial of the sole surviving officer of Her Majesty's frigate, the Artemis. Plot twist right there, right? Kydd, who was on duty as quartermaster of the starboard watch, knows what happened that night that Artemis went down. His evidence can destroy an officer's career, and as it turns out, his own. When Kydd and his mate, Nicholas Renzi, are forcibly shipped off to the Caribbean, a whole new set of challenges lies in wait. From the dockyards of Antigua to the shores of Guadeloupe, from warring French and English battleships to a death-defying voyage aboard the plucky naval cutter Seaflower. Kydd's medal under fire as a sailor and a man will receive the ultimate test, how he and Renzi survive the primal force of nature at sea and among their fellow men is at the heart of this exhilarating, rewarding journey. Book number 3, Seafaring. So those 3 I found at the, and I didn't find all of these in order. These 3 were together. The first 3 were together. I didn't find them all in order, but I did find some more through half price. I actually went to the shelves and tried to find the author, couldn't find the author. So I ended up going up to the front desk, and they were able to search the computers and found out that they had at least a couple. They didn't have all the ones that 27 books in the series. They didn't have all of them, but they had a few, and I didn't know what order they were in, so I bought them all that they had, and they had a total of 5, and the first 3 came together. And it's funny because I have the first 7, I believe, the first 7 in the series together. Yes, I have the first 7. I got 8 books total, the first 7th, and then the 23rd release. All right, so this is another one. This is book number 4. It's called Mutiny. This one's so far the thickest one of them all. But once again, captivating cover imagery. I think this is one of the main reasons why I wanted to, one of the reasons why. The story is very interesting, but this is one of the main reasons why. So, where are we? Okay. All right. So in Stockwin's series recreates one of history's most notorious naval insurrections as Kydd crosses the Mediterranean to rendezvous with danger and returns to England only to find himself caught up in the Nore Mutiny. Kydd is a loyal servant of the king, and he is expected to side with the naval authority against his friends. But how can he? Faced with the impossible decision of duty and conscience, he must find a way to save himself and his fellow sailors. Mutiny, and that is book number 4. And then we have book number 5. Once again, the color scheme on this cover is just amazing. All right, so this is book number 5. Okay, in this 5th adventure, Kydd takes a tough examination to confirm his rank as lieutenant. He passes with flying colors, despite his fears, but aboard the 64-gun Tenacious, he faces a more daunting challenge, matching up to the high-born officers. When Tenacious reaches the colonies, Kydd is unwittingly caught up in the intrigue and the adventure surrounding the birth of the American Navy. That's weird. It says Quarterdeck, but it's talking about the Tenacious, the ship Tenacious. Anyway, so we have Quarterdeck. Very interesting. The next is Tenacious, which is actually book number 6. There's actually a burning ship on the front cover and a couple of escaping sailors. Isn't that nice? Okay, this one here is the 6th Kydd adventure. It finds Lieutenant Kydd aboard Tenacious, part of a squadron commanded by Vice Admiral Horatio Nelson. Its mission is to scour the Mediterranean and locate Napoleon and his army. Kydd's newly fired ambition leads him to volunteer for shore service with the British Army in the capture of Minorca. Later, he faces the great ships of the line at the Battle of the Nile. But there is one more test to come. The Siege of Acre, where Kydd and a handful of British seamen face an army of 13,000. Book number 6, Tenacious. You love those covers? I swear, right? Okay, so this one's a little bit different. So this is book number 7. This is Command. Now, unfortunately, this is a hardback. And I say unfortunately because it doesn't match. Now it stands out from the others. But it's not a bad... I could remove the cover if I wanted to. But it's awkward. It's not really, actually, not even a bad color, actually. If I had all the books like this, I would take them like this. But I want to find a paperback version of this. So I'm probably going to replace this because I would like for all the books to match. So this is book number 7. And this is Thomas Kydd has his own command at last. The brig sloop Teaser. But Kydd must race the clock to make her battle ready to defend Malta against Barbary pirates and the French, who are frantically trying to rescue the remnants of their army in the Levant. Then peace is suddenly declared, and the young captain finds himself ashore on half pay. To make ends meet, he agrees to transport convicts to Australia. Little does he know that his friend, Renzi, weakened by illness and embittered with the service, is also bound for the colony as a settler. There, at the ends of the earth, they will be forced to face their deepest fears and prove themselves against all odds. So Thomas Kydd takes command of his first ship and learns firsthand about the power of loneliness that comes with ultimate responsibility. Book number 7, Command. And finally, for today, we are dealing with the last one. And I don't really know how to feel, because this book also doesn't match the others. But this is Balkan Glory, and it's a paperback with an outstanding. The later series end up having this burgundy-ish, reddish um, cover to almost all of the books in the last part of the series, but they have very unique. So it's still a perfect reason to collect these books. And this is also another second thick book. It's a pretty lots of pages on this, but it's slightly smaller. It's slightly smaller. Can you see the difference? Yeah, slightly smaller. Then it's hard to notice on the shelves, but I really am going to try and work on trying to find the copy that matches this set. But anyway, this last one here, 1811, the Adriatic, the French lake, is now the most valuable territory Napoleon Bonaparte possesses. Captain Sir Thomas Kydd, sir, finds his glorious return to England cut short when the Admiralty summons him to lead a squadron of frigates into these waters to cause havoc and distress the enemy. Kydd is dubbed the Sea Devil by Bonaparte, all right, who personally appoints one of his favorites, de Boudoir, along with the fleet that greatly outweighs the British to rid him of this menace. Du Bordier. A climatic sea battle where the stakes could not be higher is inevitable. Can Kydd shatter Bonaparte's dreams of breaking out of Europe and marching to the gates of India and Asia? Balkan Glory is an epic chapter in the splendid Kydd canon, weaving knotted political gambits with stirring naval actions. And there you have it. I want to thank you for joining me today. We already have some books on order, waiting for those to come in. And when they finally get here, we will go ahead and launch another series, unwrapping and then covering those books. Love those titles. Let me know what you guys think about these titles and those book covers. Aren't they fantastic?